Morning, everybody. Back again with another fresh installment here, coming to you live for game number cuatro of the World Chess Championships between none other than the Chinese Grandmaster Ding Liren up against the English, I almost said the Indian young sensation Gukesh D. In this game, Ding now has the white pieces, and we'll see how it starts out. We'll see if it was any violent clashes or did the game end in peace. So, assuming the white pieces then, we have d5 by Gukesh, e3, knight to f6, and b3 by Ding, signaling perhaps now to go bishop b2, maybe even bishop a3 to attack on a long diagonal, or bishop b2 to go for this positional game with maybe if Fianchetto's the light squared as well to get bishop to g2, slow maneuvering game. And Gukesh immediately goes bishop to f5. So now we're sort of in a reversed London system. And it's really simple in these structures for black to neutralize the position, as we'll see as the game progresses. After this bishop f5, then goes bishop e2, preparing kingside castling, h6. And yeah, in this game has been repeated before between none other than Hans Mocha Neiman of the USA and India's very own Vidit Gujarati. Yeah, and in this game, yes, um, Hans Mocha Neiman ended up winning nicely. So perhaps Ding is going on this game to find an improvement even on that and to follow the same trend. But it's very likely also looked into it. We have bishop a3 then, and now knight b to d7. Knight b to d7 is basically just setting up for e6 and to defend this bishop on f8 because Ding's next moves are quite simple. Castles, e6 and captures, right? Here, black recaptures knight f8. But black also has the option to go king f8 here if black wants to like be really ambitious in the quest. So maybe ideas of king f8 and later in the game g5. Just abandoning any ideas of castling, which is also perfectly fine. Um, as Magnus Carlsen also echoed this in the post-game analysis to go king f8 and maybe g5, h4 ideas later on in the game. So knight to f8. This knight is very active, jumping up and down, and c4 striking in the center immediately. Thereafter, we have knight back to d7, knight 8 to d7 as both knights. On the f file, in notation, we'd write it as if this knight jumped back, for instance, it would be knight n6 to d7. In this case, it's n8 because it's on the 8th rank. All right, just some chess tips there. Knight to c3 then, and castles. So a lot of trades are most likely to happen now, which does happen. C takes D, E takes D, and now we have B4. So yeah, we could argue that okay, things perhaps trying to prepare minority attacks here on the queen side, and we'll see how it progresses after C6. Here, Ding went knight to D4, and he could have went maybe D4 to solidify what's known as a Carlsbad structure with B7, C6, and D5. Then we have D4, E3, and F2. These are known as Carlsbad structures. Also, to perhaps really clamp down on the center, D4 could have been an option here, taking control of C5 and E5. And even maybe D3 and E4, right? These are possible alternatives. But knight to D4 is just, it could be argued as somewhat the most natural move in the position, although it's not perhaps advocated for as much by the computers. A4 is advanced here, is advocated for as well as queen b3, which is eventually played, right? But after 94, the bishop drops back to g7, um, which is a bit unusual because most players maybe just drop it to g6, right? And maybe the knight back to h7 later on, such ideas, or maybe bishop g6 to give breathing room for the king, right? But okay, bishop f7, h7, nothing wrong with that. And then we have queen b3. After queen b3, then we have knight to e5, centralizing the knight. And now we have this a4, preparing by perhaps a minority attack. Rook to c8, a very nice move by Gukesh, getting the rook off the a file and somewhat putting defense on the square, on the c6 square. And now we have a5 and immediately b6. So in this position, bishop a6 is advocated for, and after bishop a6, we have rook to c7, f4, knight g6 ideas, and white stands slightly better if they wanted to maybe press for more. But knight to f3 is basically Ding saying, okay, let's uh let's back it up, call it a day. And after this mass liquidation takes place, the pieces are exchanged quite quickly. Uh, After knight to f3, knight takes f3, and bishop f3 takes f3. And then we have d4, the knight to e2, and d takes e. And now we have d takes e as well. Just preparing to go rook to the open d file here, perhaps. Okay, and bishop to e4, rook f to d1, queen to 7, and more trades. And bishop takes e4, knight takes e4, a takes b, and a takes b. Knight c3, and yes, in things last 5, 6 moves, we can see shift from perhaps having wanted to push for more on the side, on the queen side, for perhaps maybe a slight advantage to him dropping back the knight to f3, just signaling, okay, we can draw, I'm fine with the draw, I'm surviving another game. So Gukesh says, no, we are not going to exchange this yet. I go rook f to d8, and Harding says, fine, I'll just take your knight on e4, queen takes e4, and now h3. And from here on out, it's just the rook and queen versus 4 on 4 endgame. And rook takes and rook c1, queen to e4, then queen to c2, attacking the c5 pawn doubly, but it's easily defended either with rook c8 or rook to d5 here, not a problem. Gukesh goes the most natural, rook to d5, g3, just making some room for the king, and f5. Okay, f5 gives white slight advantage, but then again, nothing serious, nothing objectively slightly better now, plus 0.1, but again, this is nothing to push for the win, right? In fact, it's a move we'd expect from Gukesh, a very ambitious style move. It's important here after king g2, perhaps maybe not to just go, yeah, although yes, objectively it is drawn. Um, it could be slightly simpler for white to play, as black would have 1, 2, 3 pawn islands, and white has no pawn islands. And yes, on this level, at this level, it would obviously be drawn, but there could be some complexities in structures where the pawns are this isolated for black. It would be preferred to be white in this position, and if such a trade had to occur. But be that as it may, there's no queen e4 check. After king d2, it's king h7, queen to c4 then, and after that, queen to d6, e4, yes, then preparing queen c4 to thrust the pawn in the center. Rook to e5, pawns fall off the board, the rook takes, and then Ding plays queen to e4, pinning the rook to the king. It's kind of reminiscent to the World Championship match against Nepo where he self-pinned on g6. But anyway, that's back then and it's not the exact same position. Queen to d5, and now Gukesh reverse pinning Ding's queen to Ding's king. Kind of cool. And then Ding says, okay, I'll just exchange queens with you. And here we see king f3, king g6, king to e4, and a repetition of moves occur after rook d4 check, king e4, rook d4, king e3, rook d4, king e4, and rook d4. So there you have it, guys. Game number 4 ends in a relatively quiet draw. There was some attacking potential for Ding there with his a4, b4 thrusts and potential with the bishop a6 idea. But after knight f3, Ding just decided, let's call it a draw. And perhaps psychologically, this is a fine tactic from Ding, prolonging the game um, to better the chances maybe if they draw classical portion to go into the show what will happen in the game later on today with game number 5 reading as black pieces again. Maybe we'll see some special prep, but we can see as the games are moving, Gukesh is unearthing and getting more into his rhythm. So not too sure if these quiet draws with white is the best for Ding, as you generally want to strike with white when you have the white pieces at this level. But then again, Ding did win with black in their first game, so we will see what later on brings for us in game 5. Thank you for tuning in, guys, and have a great day ahead. See you soon.